Hey everybody, what's up? Circus here coming at you with a Duel Links history video. And I like the idea of this video that was brought to us by Reseline. She did all the groundwork for us, did all the research, and came up with the idea. I think it's a really neat idea. We're going to be taking a look at for hires and the tier 0 meta that almost killed Duel Links. Literally almost killed Duel Links. So anyone that played under the tier 0 for hire meta probably got the sense that for hires weren't healthy for the game competitively. Turns out the competitiveness of the game was the only aspect for hires were likely killing at the time. There's some data to suggest that the deck was also not healthy for the game financially, possibly causing the biggest dip in sales in the game's history. So let's take a look at this. About the time that Duel Links came out, I will always remember this, like, I don't know if you want to say it's like a golden age of Duel Links, but it was definitely an interesting time. And let's take a look at it. Starting with this box right here, Abyss Encounters. This is when Citadel Well and SSA came out. So this was like a really big deck at the time because this card was really broken compared to everything else that was out in the game. So that came out, and then that was immediately followed by the Sylvans meta, which people, if you were around during that, people hated Sylvans with a passion. All right. And then right after that came Valiant Souls, which had Anki and the hero meta that started coming around. And then immediately after that was spell books. All right, so there's spell books. So right in that box right after it. Now they took a break here with Crusaders Battlegrounds. There wasn't really anything too relevant in here. Maybe a little 6 Sam support. This is where the original Noble Knights were, but they weren't groundbreaking at the time. And then the next box is for hire. This is where the tier 0 meta kicks in, but you can see it is another mini box deck. Burning Nova, this was the box after for hire. Didn't have anything real meta impactful. This is Battery Men. But then following that, we have the second wave of Vampire support, and this went on to be a tier 1 deck here. So these 8 boxes, I guess really 6 of the 8, had a lot of impact on the meta. It was just like one box right after the other that had impact on the meta. And for hire being the number 1 deck of them all, just because it was so easy to get. If you look at this box, you only have to go through it 3 times to get beat Bladesman for hire. He's the highest ranking card. He's a SR. Everything else you needed right here. The Dyna was a rare. The Wiz was a rare, and then you got Dampa, and then you got the Recon, and then they had a spell down here that you could use. And that's all you really needed. And then you just filled it in with like Econ and Hatronade and things like that. And this deck was just absolutely ridiculous. If you didn't have this deck, you probably weren't playing the game because everybody had this. When you went on the ladder, 9 out of 10 matches were for hire mirrors. Like you'd get your opening hand, you'd look at it, am I going first or second? And you know if you win or lose just like that. I mean, that's just the way things were on the ladder, and they really weren't that different looking at the competitive scene, which we're going to take a look at right here. Okay, so what we're looking at here is on the Duel Links meta website, and this is Duel the Meta Weekly number 28 breakdown, and this is when for hires came out, and you can see here this is July 11th, so pretty early on in their reign, and you can see here everybody well right here for hires, that's what 26 27 people playing for hires. Everybody in the top 4 were playing for hires. And if you look at these decks here, just gross, right? 3 Canadias, a Trunade. This guy's got 2 Hatronades, 2 Treacherous Trapole, 2 Econ, 2 Hatronade, 1 Tretch, 2 Econ. I mean, it's all pretty much the same thing, right? 2 Econ, a Tretch, 2 Sphere Karibo. I mean, these decks were just crazy, and it was so rampant that they DLM tried to change their format because it was just getting gross. And the following week in Meta Weekly number 29, it was a 2-deck format, but you can see here there was still 28 for hire decks in the format. And look at this. For hire spell books, for hire Amazons, for hire Amazons, for hire Amazons. This deck was just unhealthy for the game because it was too easy to get, right? It was just way too easy to get. Let's take a look at Team Wars. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Team Wars, but they are a competitive league that's still around on Twitch. And basically, you know, there's 5 people on each side, on each team, and then you send a person in, they send a person in, and then you play, loser walks, and then you can send in a new player with a different deck to try to counter the one you just got beat by. and then you got to knock the other team out. So first team to 10 points wins. And we're looking at a match report here between the X-Hunters and Raisin. And you can see here on the left, this team sent in all for hires. These are the decks right here. These are the players. These are the for hires. These are the decks. And this is the wins and losses here. Obviously, the losses in red. The green is the wins. And they're facing off against this team that sent in almost all for hires except an Amazon deck and a stall deck. And you can see that obviously they won 10-7, but both sides sending in vast majority for hire. And then in this match report, you can see here both sides just straight for hire, and they won 10-1. So that is just the way things were. Oh wait, that's one guy. If you look right here, this guy Rust95 went 10-1 that day with for hire. He just ran the table. That's definitely very hard to do. So congrats to him all these years later. So as you can see, for hire was just rampant. And just anecdotally, this is about the time I started doing casting for Team Wars. And I remember my first match was 10 for hire decks like this, and the match took like an hour and a half. Nowadays with deck variety, these things can take 2 to 3 hours, usually closer to 3 hours. But back then, yeah, it would be an hour and a half because it was just the games were just so quick. So I definitely remember this meta. And then interestingly enough, for hire was the reason beatdown originally got nerfed. This effect has been very prevalent in the current meta since level 5 or higher monsters can be easily summoned to the field. Therefore, this effect will be changed so that it can still be used easily in decks which include a lot of level 5 and higher monsters, while no longer applying to monsters level 4 and below. So it used to be you could get your Dyna and your Wiz, or maybe a Dyna and then 2 little guys on the field. You beat down, the little guys get boosted. Or you got the Dyna and the Wiz, and then the little guy gets boosted 600 points or 600 attack points because of the Dyna and the Wiz. So they made it so that only the level 5 or higher monsters get the bonus. So, yeah, and as you can see, this is August 29th, 2018. So right around that time when For Hire was out, and it was such a dominant deck that it literally almost killed the game. And we're going to start looking at the financial aspect of it right now. All right, and as for how For Hires affected the game financially, there were a handful of hints. The month after For Hires took over, the ladder and competitive scene had the game's biggest dip in monthly gems ever. We can see this from this monthly gem report here on Reddit. And what they do here is they just track all the gems that are given away for free, obviously, in the game. Things like, login bonuses, events, like a card flipper campaign, something like that. And you can see July 2018 here at the top. Grand total, 3,255 gems. As in comparison to earlier months, May 2018, 5,867 gems, February 2018, 4,900 gems, and January 2018, 4,495 gems. And it doesn't seem like Konami was getting greedy here either. If we take a look at this next graph from July 2018 to August 2019, the monthly free-to-play gems, you see that Konami went back up to giving us the usual 4,000 to 5,000 gems every month after For Hires first got nerfed in August of 2018. And you can see that here. Here's July, August, and it just starts going back up. Look at this month here, 6,000 gems. That's crazy, right? Also at this time, Zane Truesdale's unlock at the end of July 2018 gave us the first character in the game whose level 30 reward is a card instead of 300 gems. It was after For Hires took over the game that Konami started nerfing the gem rewards from leveling up characters. So that was also something that had never happened before, but was a result of the For Hire meta. And then also the August 2018 mini box Empire Scarlet gave us the first 100 pack mini box. Before that, all mini boxes were 80 packs, which made getting decks like Sylvan's and For Hires a lot easier. But then that jumped up to 100 packs and made every mini box deck after that more expensive. And they also increased the UR count in these minis from 2 to 3, making it harder to snipe URs from them with the $1 sale as well. All these reasons suggest that Konami was trying to make it harder for free-to-play players, and coincidentally, all these changes to make the game more expensive to happen during the Tier 0 For Hire meta. Perhaps the deck was just too good and too cheap at the same time, causing people to no longer spend money on the game, and I feel that's very, very true. We do have one last chart that also suggests that the player base for the game was dropping at this time. This is from the Google Play Store. This is the popularity ranking that they had there for July of 2018. And as you can see, if I scoot out of the way here, which way? This way. You can see, oh, get Circus all the way. It just drops all the way down near the end of the month. And you see a somewhat sudden dip in it starting around the 8th, which is when the main box after For Hire called Burning Nova came out. This implies that people were leaving the game after seeing that Burning Nova wasn't giving any new cards that would match with For Hires. So people saw that and there's like, we're out. This is stupid. I'm tired of playing this. And then just one little anecdotal thing. People that went to Worlds that year, the World Championship in 2018, said that the creator of For Hires apparently apologized to the players for it happening. Whether or not it's true, the rise in the expenses to keep up with the game along with the dip in popularity at the time do suggest that Konami might have regretted putting For Hires into the game. And I can attest, at the time when it first came out, it was a lot of fun because like the first night they came out, you get on the ladder, people don't know what they are, you're clapping the crap out of them with them, and you're like, this deck is great. About a month later, you're like, God, I hope this deck goes away. I can't stand it anymore. And that's pretty much the way it was. A lot of people say they love tier 0 metas. If you've ever actually played in one, they're not a lot of fun. So that's it for the For Hire video. I hope you guys like it. And again, thanks to Resolene for all this awesome research and the script. I love having a script to go from. So thank you very much. So make sure to get in our Discord. It's free. The tournaments are free. The new player help is free. And we'd love to have you in there. Make sure to check me out on Saturday nights doing the new player help stream. It's a lot of fun. I hope to see you there. So I'm going to get out of here. I'm Circus, and I'll see you next time.